I was on a show called Simon and Simon, which was fun. It's the easiest work I've ever done in my life. I go in for 2 days a week and make a lot of money. And those poor guys were working every day from 6 to 8. I'd come in, I spent more time at the gym getting ready for the rep world than I did doing it. But around about the fourth year, I had this urge to work with Hugh Wilson again. And I decided, I said, let me see what I can do here. Because I didn't want to just be second banana, the black cop in our cop shows. So I wrote an episode based on Beverly Hills Cops, which was very, very popular and broke Eddie Murphy into his film career. So I wrote an episode about my character on Simon and Simon in La Jolla. It was basically going to be Beverly Hills Cop in La Jolla, a very upscale white community in Southern California outside of San Diego. And I put it in. It was going to be the last episode. And I said, I'm going to give you a cheap pilot. Instead of having to spend $2 million to do a pilot, you can do the last episode, spin me off with another white cop as sort of Beverly Hills Cop kind of character. And it was a good pilot story. We actually shot it as an episode. But somebody in the hierarchy at Universal, they didn't think that I was capable of carrying a show. He can't carry a show. His TVQ, the thing that they don't talk about, wasn't high enough. So it really angered me. And I said, well, then I'm going to go try to do something else. And they didn't care. So yeah, I want to go. Go. We can get another black cop like the day after tomorrow. So I went to Hugh and we were playing tennis at his house. And I said, Hugh, let's work together again. He said, yeah. He called me Timmy. He said, yeah, Timmy, let's do that because I haven't had much fun in a long time. So what would you do? I said, my dad owned a restaurant. It didn't work. And I've always had that in the back of my mind. I wanted to, make up for that. Let's do something about a restaurant bar. He said, okay. And so let's go pitch it. So he and I go to CBS, sit down, and we pitch it to Kimla Masters and all the execs. And they like it. And one guy says, instead of doing it in, I forgot where we were going to set it, but instead of doing it there, why don't you do it in New Orleans? And I thought, New Orleans. I'm thinking about the Playboy Club and all these years. I love New Orleans. The most fun I ever had in my life. I said, yeah. So we get on a plane, we fly to New Orleans, and we spend some days there coming up with this idea. And we rode around, we met people, we went to bars, we went to funeral homes, and we came back, and he wrote the pilot script. And it was one of the most extraordinary things I ever read. And the network liked it, and they said, you guys got it, do it the way you want. And we started. And we used to get calls from people, actors, producers, mostly actors and performers, I should say, saying, can I be on that show? We had Dizzy Gillespie. Who gets Dizzy Gillespie to come on and be in a sitcom? We had Don King. We had Joe Frazier. We had everybody wanted to be on that show. It was when the black community had not seen itself like that. One of the most extraordinary things was after we did the pilot, I was in New York to promote some of the episodes. We hadn't come on the air yet. And I'm at CBS showing it to the employees. I wanted them to get excited so they could really market and promote it. And as I was about to leave, someone came over to me and said, you won't believe this, but William Paley wants to see you. And I was like, excuse me? William, the founder of television, wants to see me? He said, yeah, William Paley has asked if you would come up to this office. Now, William Paley hadn't seen an actor in his office since Jackie Gleason and maybe one other. And I'm going, William Paley. So the president of the network at that time, I think Tom O'Leary, he was shocked. Everybody was shocked. So they put me in debriefing like I was going to meet Jesus. And so for about 45 minutes, they debriefed me and about how to, I don't know, it just was, we're all in the cloud because he had not asked to see anybody. So all of us were going through these strange thoughts. What does this mean? And I was dressed with the part that gets me. It was summer. It was 90 degrees in New York. I had on yellow pants. I had a very flowery shirt. I was not dressed to go see the founder of television. But nonetheless, it is what it is. So I took my beard, my earring, and I went up to on the elevator. One elevator takes you all the way to the top. And I go in his waiting area. It is huge. It's like a basketball court. And there's this one desk with this lady and two big sofas, plants, and paintings. And you can see all around Manhattan. And it was so big it echoed. I'm here to see Mr. Paley. My name is Tim Reid. So she said, have a seat. So we sat. And finally, he had brought us in. And it was just like out of network. This guy sitting in a chair with the sun behind him, kind of in silhouette. And I sat at the other end of the table, long table, in his office. The art was, it was like he had walked into New York Museum. I mean, a Metropolitan Museum. It was he shut the door on a Rodin statue. It was Greco's. It was just, and the fact that we knew it, and my wife was with me, she knew it, he was kind of taken aback by, oh, you know the artist? Oh, yeah, she was at the Tintoretto and da-da-da-da. So the first few minutes were both of us were a bit surprised at each other. And finally, when that was done, a few minutes went by, he said, young man, I've seen your show. I like it. He said, I would have been proud to have it on the network when I ran it. Well, he had me. You know, this guy created, you know, evening news. He created Playhouse 90, you know. So I said, wow, thank you, sir. He said, I have but one question to ask you. I said, what is that, sir? He says, what is your propaganda? And I went, wow. I'm thinking to myself, and I'm not saying this out. I just kind of paused for a moment to gather myself. And I'm thinking, I didn't expect that. Boy, that's a serious question. Now, how am I going to answer that? And I answered him. You know, I told him that I'd watched television since I was able to understand what these dancing images were on this little black and white box that I was watching, from Gillette Cavalcade of Sports to this and that. I said, in all that time as a kid, I never saw people who look like people in my neighborhood. I said, I've never seen, even to this day, the kind of people that I grew up with, my aunts, my uncles, people who ran the corner store, Baker's store, the people who were entrepreneurs and who sold homes, who lived in homes, who worked. I've never seen them on television. I said, there was one attempt, Amos and Andy. I said, the neighborhood and the background was real, but the characters were buffoonish, except, you know, not all of them, but a few of them. I said, so that was the closest thing to I saw. And I didn't see them in dramas. Most of the people in my family and women were working in white people's homes, but we didn't see what life was like when they came home. And I said, so my hope is that through this show, I begin to show you my community. I begin to show you the people who I love dearly, who were responsible for me sitting in this chair. And he liked it. He said, well, thank you. He said, you're going to have the same writers? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I wish you all the best. And that was the end of the meeting. But it changed me. And that's when I knew that I had to be more involved in the creation of images. I had to be more involved and even spend my own money to make sure the people that are responsible for my being who I am had an opportunity to be seen, to be debated, to, you know, it wasn't all roses. I mean, we had the dark side as well, but I just felt and still feel the need to do that.